Welcome back to Writing with Witches, the podcast where a couple of witches sit and talk about writing books, except we're going to flip the script a little bit on this one. My name is Leona Urbansky. I'm a debut author with my book coming out in April of this year, and my co-host is...
I am Nicole Autumn. I am the author of the Secret Society series, which is now fully published. All of the books are out.
We're all very thrilled about this.
Yes.
And speaking of that is what we're talking about today. So you get to get in on the first interview with the author Nicole Autumn on the latest book, Unveiled, of her Secret Society series.
I'm nervous.
Why are you nervous? You're fine.
Because I have a tendency to go brain dead when people ask me about my book.
Oh, it's just me. It's just me.
I know. You know the ins and outs of my book better sometimes than I do, so.
Oh, real quick, to continue with our normal episode format first, do you have any other book news?
As of right now, now that the final book is out, I get to dive headfirst into a bunch of different projects that I kind of have in the works. I'm not going to focus so much on one because I have a tendency to lose steam. So I think I'm going to take a page out of your book and kind of bounce between a couple. So, and I randomly dreamt up a random one the other day, so wrote that down. The things the places you find inspiration from. This is funny.
That's totally fair.
Yeah. Book news for you.
So yeah, I'm still plugging along on Fae Touched, the first of the Silver Eyes, the rewrite on that one. And I am currently bouncing between 4 first drafts right now. Branded, Clara, Shadow Princess, and now my Red Mage.
I'm excited for this last one.
It's turning out is going to be set in the same world as Fire Magic is how I'm going to adapt it. So I'm looking forward to that. This will be an interesting take on this world.
It will be. Because all of your trilogies kind of all involve the same people, right? So this one will be the first one in this world that isn't from characters we've already seen in Fire Magic.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
No, these will be totally new centuries before Fire Magic even happens.
That's going to be fun. Interesting.
Yeah. Alrighty. So with that out of the way, since we were already talking about inspiration, what was the inspiration in general for the trilogy you wrote, but specifically, did you have any special inspiration for Unveiled when you were writing it?
So, for Unveiled, I didn't really have any inspiration. It was just kind of picking up where it left off with Unleashed. And this one was harder to finish. I struggled to get this one off the ground for quite a while. For whatever reason, I'm not sure. But I started writing it in, I want to say it was like September or October. I started writing it in 2023. So it took me a long time to get this one out. Overall, the inspiration for the trilogy itself, I was reading a lot of dark romance at the time, but I just wasn't digging all of the main characters in them. So I was just like, that kind of was inspiration. But also I was reading one book series in particular. It was Madison Kate by Tate James. I liked how she made each... So that one's a 4-book series. Excuse me. And in each book, it kind of focused on one guy, which I did really like. And I kind of did take inspiration off of that, where each book kind of follows more or less one of the guys more in depth than the others. So I think that is where that inspiration came from. But overall, it kind of just came out.
So what specifically, and I'm not asking you to name books or authors or anything, but what traits were you finding lacking that you wanted to see in a male main character, do you think?
Honestly, I think it was just like, you always get the obsession, right? With like dark romances and stuff like that. But there was no deep, it felt very shallow with how their emotions were. It was just very like, oh, she's mine, obsessive, like, and possessive over the female, but it was never really the romance of dark romance. And that's kind of what I wanted, to where maybe, I mean, they have their moments of being a little toxic, but overall the entire, you know, relationship itself is not toxic overall. At least I don't think so. So that's kind of what I wanted to see more of, is romance kind of flourishing in these darker aspects of life that are more taboo topics, I guess, is what I wanted to see. And not so much, oh, she's mine, give me. Like caveman style.
I mean, they had their moments of that.
Oh, they do.
I'm not going to argue, but
They do. They definitely do. But it also goes far deeper than just surface level, she's mine kind of thing.
yeah, I think in your novella, the Christmas novella, having the hand fasting ceremony, including Leo and Jensen with the marriage ceremony, I think really hit on that point. Do you think is that one of the things you were trying to convey with that?
Yeah, for sure. Like, it wasn't just so much like her picking one guy. It was, she was devoting herself to all three. And even though it was kind of last minute, the other two were like, are we doing this? Because she didn't tell them, and it was meant to be like that moment of, I am putting myself out there and I do love you guys, and I want to show that same level of devotion to all of them, not just Charles. So yeah, that was definitely that, going further with their devotion for each other.
No, and the imagery you gave with that, I think, was really well done with that one.
Well, thank you.
So kind of still on the inspiration trope a little bit, but what do you think your playlist or music type was when you were writing Unveiled?
It's always metal. It's
Always
always
metal.
It is always some form of metal. There was one, I think in there was like one or two that is kind of like, I don't know if it's considered EDM, but it's somewhere along those lines with metal. But more so it's, I find songs where the lyrics kind of match up. So a lot of the songs on that, there's talk of regicide, there's talks of dethroning people, and it's all, again, metal. So it was kind of all focused on this final fight in a way. So, but yeah, it's always metal.
Short answer, it's metal.
It's metal. I'm a metalcore girly, like, through and through. That's where it's gonna be at.
So is the EDM, I know you had to branch out a little bit when you were trying to write the rave scene. Is that what you're referencing with the EDM there?
Yeah, a little bit. I was trying to listen to that, and then I put on rave music, and oh my god, I can't do rave music. It's far too repetitive for me. And not to to offend anyone, but I can understand why they'd be on drugs when they're listening to that music, because I couldn't handle it if I was not on drugs. Um, I listened to about maybe 5-10 minutes of it, and I was like, okay, nope, this is annoying. It was too repetitive for me. I could not. But I had to get in the moment for that rave scene.
You had to see them dancing in your head.
I had to, and it wouldn't work if it wasn't some type of rave music.
Oh Lord. So how deep did you have to dive into the rave clothing scene to figure out what you wanted them to wear? I have to ask.
Oh my god, my Pinterest is still showing me rave clothing. Like I was scrolling forever, especially when I had to figure out what Jensen would wear. I was like, what is this man gonna wear? This 6'5" man who would never be caught dead wearing something is now in rave attire, which he makes a real funny joke about that later in the book. But yeah, I went real deep into it. Very cute. Love the clothing scene. It is adorable. But yeah, I'm still getting rave suggestions in my Pinterest boards, even though I looked that up months ago.
That's Pinterest does tend to be persistent.
Oh yes, apparently I just really need to get those, like, oh my god, what is it? I don't know what the material is, but it's like the material from like those old school blow up couches from the 90s that are like iridescent. They have like whole like get-ups, bondage type stuff in that, and it's just shoving it at me, and I'm like, maybe I just should. No, just maybe I should.
You never know, I guess. Okay, so jumping from rave to medieval.
Yeah.
At one point, you bring up Leo and Amy talking about Game of Thrones, and Amy reflects on how she feels that her story has parallels to Sansa Stark.
Yeah.
You want to dive a little deeper in on that?
So, and it's funny because I really didn't think about it too deeply until as I was writing it, I was like, oh, well, she's a badass. But then as I started writing it, I was like, oh shit, they really do have parallels that, although Sansa, yes, in the beginning was a spoiled brat, which Amy can't relate to. But the fact is that they were both taken advantage by men in their lives, right? And in ways that are just horrible. And both of them had to overcome that internal conflict and come out stronger on the other side so they didn't just crumple, And I think that's where Amy and her share that, obviously, that bad things happen to them, but that they picked themselves up and they didn't let the bad things just make them, oh, poor me. They're like, okay, I have to keep going. There's things that need to be done. I can't just sit here and play the victim. And if I don't pull myself out, no one's going to. And granted, Amy did have, Leo there, especially in her dark moments. He helped pull her out. And in ways, when Sansa is at her lowest, it was Theon Greyjoy that actually helped her out. Even though he had his moments of being shitty to her too. But he's the one that helped her get her break out. So there were definitely those similarities, but I mean, obviously they're not complete parallels, but just their struggles, I guess, and getting out of it.
Okay. So, just, I guess, a little bit more on Amy's growth over the whole trilogy here.
Mm-hmm.
I know one of the things that you and I had discussed in the past are how her weak points are also her strengths.
Yeah.
in some ways. You want to talk about how that was kind of shown through the trilogy?
So for her, her trust in people is a great thing to have, but also comes to bite her in the ass. So there's great strength in being able to trust people when you need to, but then, you know, again, she trusted someone and then realized that later on they used that trust against her, to take advantage of her in a way that was violating in her because of things that have happened to her. I'm trying not to give away too much. So I'm like, how
I
do
mean,
I
the
say
book's
this
been out
without?
for a month, so
Yeah. But I don't want to say too much and spoil, you know, but yeah. So her basically, and also being naive, she tries to think the best of everyone, and sometimes she wants to be that optimistic, everything's going to work out, and that also tends to bite her in the ass because not everything is going to work out in the best way possible. Particularly like in the novella, right? She knew her parents' lives were coming to an end, but she still bought them Christmas gifts, knowing that they weren't going to get used. But in her mind, well, it's Christmas, I still have to buy them gifts. So she even points that out, like later on. She's like, this was just so naive and stupid of me to even do this. And it was just like a reminder to her. So sometimes her naivety can get the best of her, and trying to be positive and see the best in everyone, but not everyone is worth giving that opportunity to. So those are kind of her weaknesses, but it can also be a strength in times when you need to be able to trust people around you to make it out, you know, alive.
preferably.
Yes, preferably alive, not dead.
So that kind of brings up a point I'm wondering about. Was this in your planning, what planning you did, a conscious decision to keep that optimism after what she went through with Gage?
That's I don't think I did. It was more so, I don't know, it just didn't I guess maybe it didn't feel in her character to be negative. She definitely has her moments, and she definitely dives into that darker aspect of herself, but she realized that it wasn't a good place to stay. And I think we see that more so after the torture scenes in the second one, where she is like, damn, I'm numb to this. And I think that was the time that maybe she realized she could dive deep and get stuck there. So she made that active choice that I'm not going to focus on the darkness. I'm not going to sit in this and wallow. So I guess, yeah, actively choosing that she was going to still try and stay optimistic, even though everything
Do
just
you
kept
think,
beating her down.
right? No.
Yeah.
Uh, do you think that is tied into why she would not let herself go down too deeply the with the demon powers?
I think so. I think it scared her, to be honest. I think seeing, because she snapped at Roland during that big fight in Unleashed, I think the darkness scared her. And seeing that, it kind of was, I guess, like a shock. Most people don't see that dark side of themselves, and when they do, sometimes it is scary. And that, I think, is what kind of made her pull back, because it was like she's never thought or seen herself like that. So she pulled back and was more hesitant to use it, maybe because she didn't like the way it felt, or she just was afraid of it in general.
Okay. So her willingness to trust, though.
Yeah.
How do you think that affected her relationship with the guys?
Um,
One by one.
I
Charles first.
Well, Charles, she's known for 12 years. So the whole switch up for her was difficult, right? Like, who the fuck is this dude all of a sudden? Like, I've known him for 12 years and now all of a sudden this is going on. So that was kind of a shock, but I think there was 12 years of history there. Like, there's no way someone could just be that different and it still not be him, if that makes sense. She probably did trust them way too fast. I'll be honest. In my mind, ain't no way I would have trusted Jensen as fast as she did, because what do you mean you stabbed me in the neck and drugged me and dragged me off to a cabin in the woods? I would be so skeptical of that man for the rest of the time I would be with him. But I think also she realized that she was out of her element. She has no idea what the hell is going on. She's been thrusted into this world that she has no clue about. And trusting them was kind of her only way of not dying. Not having something terrible happen. Which, again, she does have that relationship with Charles, so she did lean on him a lot in Unbound. And then, slowly but surely she ends up with Jensen in Larkaroth, and that they start forming that bond there. So she takes her a while to trust him. And I mean, up until they went there, she's just like, I don't know about this guy.
Even though they were sex with him, but I don't know about this guy.
Exactly. She's like, I mean, he's hot, but I don't know if I can trust him like that, I feel like Leo, she trusted him pretty quickly too. But yeah, in real life, girl, I'm questioning your decisions because she did trust them really fast. And you're like, this is kind of questionable. I wrote it and I'm like, this is questionable.
I guess what's romance without a little or a lot of trust, right?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, like I said, I think the main part of her trusting them was that she was being tossed into this world that she never realized existed or the way things worked. So she was just like, well, shit, I'm out of my element here. And she's also someone that likes to learn. So trusting them and kind of watching what's happening and observing was kind of her best option.
So on her loving to learn, do you think she went back to being a librarian?
Oh, she did. 100% she did. After they got back, they started, in my head, the way I have it, they got back, they started renovating their big old mansion, and they went back to work. They had, obviously, their monster fight somewhere in between, but yeah. They went back to, and Leo was the house husband because he was retired. But yeah, Jensen and Charles went back to the university, and she went back to the library. Yeah. Surprised
she didn't try and get into the university with her boys.
You would think, but I think at the end of the day, she's not so much the teacher. She likes to learn. She was like she claimed that she was, the local historian, self-titled, So now she knows all the deep history of the town. Yeah, talk about a rabbit hole. She went real deep on that one.
Okay. So we've been talking about Amy, and I kind of want to talk about the guys now.
Okay.
Yes, I'm going off script a little bit.
No, you're fine.
Who is your favorite?
Oh, that's hard. Why would you ask me that?
Because it's hard.
That is so hard because they all have great qualities. In reality, if like all three were lined up in front of me, I'd probably go with Jensen. Apparently, I have a thing for tall, grumpy men. My husband is a tall, grumpy man. But I would definitely be friends with Leo. And yes, as much as I love Charles, sometimes he is a moody little bitch. To be fair, he can be a moody bitch sometimes, and you're just like, oh my god, get your head out of your ass. But probably Jensen would be my favorite.
Okay, so since we're talking about Jensen, how do you think, what points in the story do you think really speak out to how his opinion of Amy changes from the girl chick he just stabbed in the neck to drug and drag back to the cabin to hand fasting with?
Honestly, it was probably in Unleashed after he broke down, destroyed the room, and instead of her like, this is too much, I don't know what baggage you have, she just sat there with him in the mess. I think that was the moment where he's like, okay, she's in it. So I think that was really the moment that really changed for him.
Okay, I can't ask the same question about Charles because he's just been head over heels in love with her.
He's just been pining after her for way too long.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So we know Charles loves her. There's never a question of him loving her. But okay, here's the question. Why do you think he was accepting of having Leo and Jensen in her life in that way?
That's a good question. I don't
Your
think
brain just shut down.
I don't really think he was. Like, in a way, he was kind of always, especially in the first book, he was very jealous of it. And he took it as, well, I'm going to take her any way I can get. And if that meant sharing, then he would deal with it. Granted, they are his best friends, so it's not like they're two random dudes. So I think he was more willing to because they were his friends, but it took him a while to be okay with it. He really wasn't for a while. Like, for most of book one and up until the torture of him in the... Oh, what was it? The prison. The abandoned prison. It was at that point, he was just like, if I just make it out of here alive, I don't care. And that's when he was just like, they're like my best friends, I don't care. Like, but for the longest time, he was not okay with it. He was very jealous. Which is where he was just being a complete bitchy man about it. So, yeah. Uh-oh, did we freeze?
Yeah, okay, there we go.
Okay. There we go.
We know Leo is pretty chill and easygoing with his life. Where do you think it clicked from him just having, hey, this is fun, to shit, I'm in love with this chick?
Ooh, for him, it's a little bit harder to pin down. I don't really know. Like, he never really had that, like, super defining moment where, like, Charles has always been in love with her. Like, Jensen, it was definitely in book 2. I don't know. Like, I think he's one of those that he kind of just fell in line with it and it just slowly just consumed him type of thing. But I don't feel like there really was that real defining moment. I know in book 3 with him, after his episode that he has, I think it really solidified to him how deep she was in it for him. And maybe that could be that moment for him as well. But it was more so, I think, him realizing, damn, like, she really sat here with me through one of my worst fucking moments. So I feel like his just, he kind of was just in it for her, like, the whole time, really. I don't really, there was no defining moment for him. It was just like, you just get in routine with someone, and next thing you know, you're just like, oh, we've been at this for 10 years. Holy shit. He's that guy, you know, where you're just like, damn, we've really been together a long ass time. And I kind of love you and you kind of love me, and we've been through some shit. Like, that is Leo as a person. There was no, like, he didn't block himself off the way Jensen did, and he hasn't been pining over Amy the way Charles was. So his was just, all right, we're doing this. Like, super easy going. So, yeah.
Okay. So we're going to jump again
Okay.
from hiding and romance and love to torture.
Yay, my favorite subject.
I know. You had 3 very explicit, graphic torture scenes across these books. Why did you decide to go that far with it?
I think more so for realism. I think, first answer, I wanted the realism of it, which these scenes could push my books technically into a horror category or some form of body horror. When it came to Amy's scene, I wanted her to get revenge. And for people who have been in that situation, to kind of have that sense of revenge for themselves, because they obviously can't do that to the people that hurt them the way that she was hurt, you know? So for that reason, but I just felt like if I really wanted it to hit home, it needed to go deep. And sometimes life is not pretty, shit gets dark. And that was something I kind of wanted to emphasize, that sometimes it's not all pretty butterflies and rainbows. And when shit happens to someone, it's not easy to just sweep under the rug. So, but realism. I wanted the realism of it.
That also kind of puts Amy in a unique position of, 1, being tortured, 2, someone she loved was tortured, and 3, being a torturer. How do you think that affected her? I know we've both studied psychology for this reason, but how do you think those experiences affected her as she moved through the trilogy?
I feel like it weighed on her a lot. Like, she constantly felt like she was in a state of just being drowned under all the weight. And I think it did change her overall. She, like, just dealing with, 1, after the torture scene with Gage, she literally says, I feel numb. I feel like I didn't get anything out of it, even though that's what I wanted. She felt like the demon that was chasing her there wasn't like that real gratifying sense to it, which I think I would say would be a fair point, because the damage that he did to her, she can't just hurt someone else away with, if that makes sense. So she was constantly struggling under the weight of the depression, the fear, the constant just emotional turmoil of it through the whole series. And I think that's why in the 3rd book, she finally did bring herself to do that spell, just to get rid of the pain that she was constantly feeling emotionally, because she's just like, I can't. she has this whole thing that's could be she's going to be facing, and she can't be sitting here, you know, struggling with her inner demons when there are literal demons trying to kill her on the outside. So it became too much for her to deal with.
How do you think people who have hopefully not been in quite the same situation Amy went through with Gage, but who have been through that kind of assault could relate to Amy with this?
So I think for her, in the process, it was, she kind of goes through phases of fighting and then trying to zone out. She doesn't want to be there. Maybe if I just lay there, things will happen and it'll be over with. Then it's, you know, the shame, the guilt. So she's dealing with a lot. And at the end, you know, it's just, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to deal with it, and just pushing it aside. And people that, from my research, the people that have had this type of assault happen to them, it goes one of two ways. They either shut down completely, or they tend to be hypersexual, which, yes, this being a romance novel and there's 3 dudes involved, there was the aspect of, well, they're gonna bang. But I also felt that it is fairly true to those 2 options. Sure, there are outliers. But for her, it was more so she just wanted to erase the feeling of him. And the guys provided that, right? They gave her that out. And it was like, she also knew that she was trying to differentiate the touch, I guess. Like, his was so violent and aggressive, where theirs, although sometimes it could be, it was never in a way to hurt her. So I think for her, diving in that way was just to get rid of him, or Gage, if you will. So she goes through a lot, and the cycle of thinking of fighting to, let me just lay here and get it over with, to maybe he'll leave me alone if I stop, or maybe that tends to be the thought process of people in that situation, from what I've researched. Everyone is different, but it's never, you know, and I tried to be as realistic in her process after, and just dealing with, you know, the trauma of it. So I tried to handle it as gently as I could.
No, that's fair. You did. You did.
And I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's uncomfortable. Bailey Sarian.
Yes. I want to do just one tiny spoiler, but I want to ask this question. And
okay.
We'll give you a time to cut to. We'll give you time to cut to if you don't want spoilers.
If you don't want to spoil.
Hecate's final revenge.
Yes.
Why did you choose to go that route versus just letting them go back and forth for eternity?
I felt like she needed her revenge. Again, this man, as much as I love Roland, I also hate him. To me, Roland is like Crowley from Supernatural. You know what I mean? He is your enemy. But he also helps you, and also you're just like, God, I fucking hate this guy. Like, I don't want to like him, but he's charming and he's funny, or he's not so much, he has his moments of being very funny. But he's that character that you really weren't supposed to like, but you end up liking anyways, even though he does some absolute vile shit. I don't know, but when Hecate finally made her appearance, or Kate. She goes by both. I don't know. I just felt like it was a very poetic ending for him. Like, he knew he fucked up, and they had literally been going at it at that point for over 100 years after the fact. And he's just like, haven't you taken enough for me? And she's like, nope, not until I kind of repay the favor. So I felt like that was just the perfect end. And I kind of felt like the ending wasn't right before. I was just like, oh, I don't know. It feels wrong to kill her and not him. So, yeah. I wanted her to get her fucking last one up on him, you know? And he just took it. So, kudos to that.
That's fair. Well, those are all the questions I have. Was there anything else in particular that you wanted to talk about?
No, I think we covered a lot of it.
Yeah.
I'm like sweating.
Beat your brain into submission.
I'm literally over here sweating. I was like, oh my God. I'm literally in the hot seat.
No, you're not. And I'm in the hot seat with my radiator heating right now.
Yeah, right now I'm actually kind of cold besides the fact that I am sweating. The room is cold. My hands are like freezing. I can't wait till I get to do this for you.
I know, right? Just rent, just best served cold, right? I got a couple of months.
Yeah. I'll be easy on you.
It's easy on you. Don't give me that.
I know.
Alrighty, so that brings us to book reviews.
Which I will say, unfortunately, this week I did not have one. If you couldn't tell already, I am sick. Again. I got influenza A this past week. So I was basically a corpse laying in bed all week, trying not to die. So
like, legit couldn't even get her to read smut. That's how sick she was.
Nothing. I was just... You should have seen me in my bed, like my heated blanket. Thank God for that heated blanket. Because I had chills so bad that I literally had the heated blanket on, another blanket, and I was still like, I'm so cold. But that heated blanket was the only thing that was somewhat keeping me alive. It was awful.
Blessing, man. I love it.
Oh, the flu was awful. So, yeah, I couldn't read anything. My brain wouldn't function.
It's totally fair. Well, I do have a book review.
Yay.
I went a little bit blast of the past on this one. This book that I am reviewing, that feels really sad saying it, was published June of 1991.
Oh, wow.
And it is called Night Rider.
Oh.
By Sandra Dubé. And if you're not watching the podcast, this is very much a 90s bodice ripper.
Love it.
That I found purely because of the cover art. So go look up the cover art if you like old, good bodice ripper cover art. It's worth it.
Yeah.
The book, though, appreciate the cover art.
There was lacking.
There were some questionable decisions made. To sum it up, this is a saga in mini episodes. There were so many little storylines that could have been expanded on and made into its own whole book. Like, this could have been like a 5-book series.
Oh, God.
With all of the storylines. Like, I sat there, I was at IHOP with my parents for lunch, and I'm describing this book to my mother, and I must have sat there for 5 minutes to get through the entire story. And she was just like, oh my God. Like, we're not even talking about the smut sex scenes. We're just talking about her meeting the guy, and then she gets kidnapped, and then she sneaks out to see the guy, and then she gets deceived by him, and then she doesn't. I don't know. It's convoluted. I can't even remember it, and I only finished this like a week ago.
Oh my god. That much happens, huh?
That is how convoluted. There was a lot of shit that happens. And all of that said, it wasn't a horrible book. I'm just saying don't go out and specifically look for it. Like, if you happen to see it hanging around the thrift store for like $1 or $2, pick it up. It's a fun ride. It's a, for only being, hang on, let me find the page number here, because there is always 430 pages.
Oh my goodness.
This thing could have been 4 books. This thing could have been 4 books if she had expanded on each one. And she's not a bad writer. I'm like, none of it is badly written. Mm-hmm. The smut's a little lacking at times, but this was also a 90s bodice ripper too, so, you know.
Yeah.
Plus, there was so much else going on. She didn't even have time to give to the smut.
There was just a whirlwind of things happening that sex wasn't on the mind.
Oh, right? It was just so much other shit happens. She gets married, she gets divorced, she gets married again.
Oh my god.
I know.
That, and it, just that sentence alone. She got married, got divorced, and got married again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What? To the same guy?
Yep.
Questionable decisions were made. I agree.
Lady Bliss Painter has an interesting, although to be fair, the dude, Kit, makes also questionable decisions. All right.
Okay, but what man
Very
doesn't
much
make
so.
questionable?
They both made questionable decisions. It's fair. She's also only like, I don't know, barely 18.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Why are they always barely 18? Oh my gosh.
This is a Regency romance.
Yeah.
So yeah, Knight Rider by Sandra Dubé. If you happen to see it, you won't regret picking it up, but don't search for it.
Don't go out of your way for it. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Here's one better. If you're interested, use the library. There you go.
There you go. That's if they still have that.
Search for it through the library. If they still have it. I'm sure someone does somewhere. But I will say the logistics, now that I'm looking closer at this cover, is interesting. Anyway.
Does not make sense, or what?
No, not really. Not sure how he's still on the horse.
Well, you can't accuse him of being AI because it didn't exist back then.
No. That is true. I wonder if they actually have the name of the cover artist, now that I think about it. It was good cover art. Nope. This is when they weren't giving you the names of the cover artists yet.
Boo.
They were just random people.
Just people.
Just people.
Oh.
So yeah, that's my book review.
Okay. So, did you want me to do a single card tarot pull?
Yes, please.
Oh, yes, please. So polite.
Please.
Let's see. Oh, I'm hitting things. There we go. Okay,
I just tried to knock stuff off my desk.
Yeah, my tarot box, like, knocked my mic, so sorry if you heard that. Okay, there we go. One good shuffle. Let's see what it has to say for the collective. One card, please.
Just one.
That's what One card. 10 of Wands.
That's an interesting one.
This is one I don't pull very often, so I don't recall the meaning. That's how I learn my tarot cards, is I just pull them and eventually I learn what they mean.
Read about them.
Yep.
Someday.
Many commitments, not enough time, feeling overwhelmed and carrying too much of a burden. You need to pick and choose what can be set aside and what is vital. So, I can see the look on your face. You're like, stop calling me out.
Please. For God's
Stop
sake,
calling
please.
me out. So yeah, maybe decide what needs to be on your plate and what shouldn't be. So there you go. That is your card reading for the week.
We're not doing this again.
Yep, for the collective. Excuse me. So that brings us to the end of this podcast. You can find us at writingwithwitches .com, and you can email us, excuse me, at writingwithwitches@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, and YouTube as Writing with Witches. We also have a Discord server as Writing with Witches. You can find me at all the aforementioned places as well as Author Nicole Autumn. And I will also have my website and newsletter linked in my link tree below. And Leona?
You can find me as Leona Urbansky. My website's leonaurbansklyauthor.com, or my Substack is leonaurbansklyauthor.substack.com. You're going to find me pretty much on Facebook and Instagram. And sign up for the newsletter, and Kickstarter is next month, man. Sign up.
Well, when this comes...
'cause I'm not.
When this comes out, it should be up, shouldn't it?
No, this is the 27th of January is when this one's going to pop out. So
when does your Kickstarter actually start?
Middle of February.
Okay.
Middle of February.
You got a couple weeks.
Got a couple weeks.
Keep your eyes open.
Yep. Sign up for the Substack. It'll be on there.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Well,
something like that.
Our preview.
Our preview this time is tropes that we want to see more of.
Yes, that's going to be fun.
That will be fun.
So, yes, that is our preview for next week. Thank you all for listening and or watching. And we hope you come back next time. Bye.
Bye.